There are starving kids in Africa who would give anything to have those Brussels sprouts. So you eat them and you be grateful, you hear? They're part of God's bountiful harvest. If I were to take a poll, I suspect most of us have heard these words or some variation of them while growing up. And if we knew what was good for us, we ate the Brussels sprouts. We ate them or we suffered the consequences. At some level, we understood that in order to receive certain benefits, we had to obey certain rules. If we wanted that bicycle that we had been eyeing for the past year, we made sure to take out the trash, mow the grass, and wash the dishes, and we did it without complaining. And when at long last we received that bicycle in all its shiny newness, we were grateful for it. That sort of gratitude might be labeled quid pro quo, this for that. It's a favor that's granted in exchange for something. In this case, gratitude for a bicycle given to us in return for doing our chores. For many Christians, this is the sort of gratitude we offer God. Out of gratitude for the blessings we receive from God, we go to church, or we place money in the offering basket, or we say our prayers, or we read our Bible. We've struck a sort of bargain with God in which God protects us from disaster, and we give God the praise for it. This for that. Quid pro quo. For the most part, that's the way the world operates. Ideally, the government offers us certain privileges and protections. We are grateful for those privileges and protections. And so we pay our taxes and we give our loyalty to the elected official whom we believe will most likely guarantee our civil liberties. Quid pro quo. But there's another sort of gratitude, one that might be described as pro bono gratitude. A lawyer who offers her services pro bono is doing it voluntarily, expecting nothing in return. Pro bono gratitude is the sort of gratitude that occurs when you are left breathless by the vibrant red of the cardinal that has joined you on the patio. It arises with the peaceful serenade of the choir of doves cooing in the branches above your head. Pro bono gratitude happens when you're startled out of the ordinariness of the day into a remembrance of just how much you love certain people in your life, and you're grateful for just one more day with them. It's not an attitude associated with any sort of expectation, but instead it's simply an unforced, freely given response to life. While quid pro quo gratitude is conditional, pro bono gratitude is unrestricted. Quid pro quo gratitude includes an element of fear. If the conditions aren't met, the benefits and protection of the benefactor will be withdrawn. There is no fear associated with pro bono gratitude. It sees everyone and everything as members of the same family. Now, there are all kinds of benefits from a life lived in what I have described as pro bono gratitude. Science has verified what we all suspected was true. Grateful people have improved physical and psychological health. They experience fewer aches and pains, fewer toxic emotions such as envy, resentment, and regret. Gratitude enhances empathy and reduces aggression. Put simply, grateful people are nicer than ingrates. They tend to be more sensitive to the dilemmas of other people, and they are more likely to offer help with no strings attached. Gratitude improves self-esteem. Grateful people are less likely to compare themselves against others and more likely to appreciate their own gifts, thus contributing to a positive self-image. We all understand its benefits, but maintaining a sense of pro bono gratitude can be easier said than done. It's much easier to sink into the despair of our day, characterized by family members refusing to talk to each other and friendships breaking up over politics. Social media is not used to connect us to each other, but instead becomes a battleground on which shame and bullying are the weapons we wield against each other. Our children are slaughtered over our right to bear arms. Preachers and elected officials use their hate-filled rhetoric to empower their gullible audience to execute others because of the color of their skin, their ethnicity, their religion, their gender expression, and their sexual orientation. And we are closer to nuclear war than we have been in decades. We live in despair. We feel as if we are being held hostage by fear, and we can find little for which to be grateful. Diana Butler Bass, faced with this same predicament that we all find ourselves in, has this to say in her most recent book. I did the only thing I could think of doing, simply giving thanks as I went through the day. I woke up with a brief prayer. Thank you that I am alive. I got coffee and breakfast. Thank you for this food, this day. I looked out the window. Thank you for sunshine. I went into my office. Thank you for words, for work. I watched the news. Thank you that no one blew up the world today. Even when it comes to thankfulness, she writes, sometimes you have to take what you can get. It was the best I could do. These arrows of appreciation aimed at God or the universe or whoever would listen. Then she reports that over the weeks things began to change, not in the world, but in her. Among the other benefits, she began to feel more resilient. Gratitude, she writes, is not a form of passive acceptance or complicity. Rather, it is the capacity to stare doubt, loss, chaos, and despair right in the eye and say, I am still here. Gratitude is a defiance of sorts, the defiance of kindness in the face of anger, of connection in the face of division, and of hope in the face of fear. Gratefulness does not acquiesce to evil. It resists evil. Being grateful does not fix anything. Pain, suffering, and injustice, these things are real. They do not go away. Gratitude, however, invalidates the false narrative that these things are the sum total of human existence, that despair is the last word. Gratitude gives us a new story. This tells me that I don't have to succumb to the fear and despair that terrorists and politicians and terroristic politicians seek to impose on me. Nor is a state of denial the only alternative to this fear and despair. Instead, I can resist with the politics of gratitude. Mary Jo Leddy, in her book Radical Gratitude, proposes habits that can be incorporated into our lives. Some of them are: begin when you are ready. Gratitude cannot be compulsory. Forcing gratitude only results in resentment. Practice gratitude in prayers, reflections, chants, and meditations. Find a beloved community, a neighborhood, or worship gathering, and be a part of it, really part of it. And contemplate the face of the world. Gratitude empowers us to stare at reality and overcome what is challenging, violent, and evil. Don't turn away from the world, turn toward it. We have a lot to be grateful for here at Central Texas MCC. A whole lot. We have come a long way in the last 32 years of our existence. And with God's help, we have accomplished a lot of things. And God has much more in store for us. Whatever the future holds for us, we will always have the ability to be grateful. We can transform the world with our gratitude. So let's do it. Let's designate the coming year as a year of gratitude. Let's cultivate gratitude in our personal and communal lives. Let's do our best at finding the good in each other. In so doing, we can transform ourselves, this church, and the world. We rewrite our stories when we go from practicing complaint to practicing thanks. Let's be gratitude activists. Diana Butler Bass reminds us that to be grateful in these days is an act of resistance, of resilience, and of renewal. It's a way of healing and compassion, perhaps even salvation. May we each experience the salvation that comes with gratitude. And may we experience it in our lives today and in the year to come. Amen.